So I had this dream in my heart. It was to move to New York City. I have no idea why. Why New York City? I know why I wanted to move. I'm not sure why I chose that place. However, the reason I wanted to go was because I had to know, could I survive without the name? I was so used to it. I'm telling you, if I went to an emergency room in the state of Virginia and said my entire name, I got tests I didn't need. When I was a stockbroker in another lifetime, people gave me all their money to invest without knowing anything other than my lineage. They had to trust that I actually knew what to do with it after that, which I did. But they didn't know that. And I'm talking, the minimum you had to have for me to be your broker was $100,000. People gave me $100,000 or more of their money 20 minutes after meeting me because my name is Martha Randolph Carr. Imagine that. If I went to a place where you had never seen me before and said my name in Virginia, you were going to be friendlier to me, chances were. So I had to know. If I go to a place where the fact that my middle name is Randolph is really odd, and I have to tell you all the time it's not hyphenated, and I have to even ask you what your middle name is so you start to understand this is my middle name, how would I do? And New York for me was the place. I talked about it forever, and I behaved as if they had to invent a rocket ship before I could get there. I don't know why. So last year, my son is finally raised. I have no other reason. I said to myself, what can I do in order to go in that direction? So I started putting everything on Craigslist that I knew I couldn't take with me. And I emailed everyone I knew, including Shannon, because he lived in New York City, and said, here's what I want to do. I'm going to fling myself out there in the universe to see what happens. Shannon was the only person who emailed back because Shannon and I are family and we regularly talk to each other, along with a lot of the other cousins from everywhere. We went and set out to purposely start to build family ties. There was never a discussion of should we. There was never a discussion of how will this go, because we accepted from the beginning we have no idea. But I'm willing. My heart is open. I'm going to try. And I got to find out about other writers. Up to that point, from the people I knew, the only other writer I knew was Virginius Dabney. Virginius, as many of you may know, was the editor of the News Leader many millions of years ago and won a Pulitzer many millions of years ago. Well, back when the family said, could you please not be a writer, Virginius stepped in. And he was in his 90s at the time. I was, by the way, a divorced mother with a baby who said, I've done it your way, now I'm going to do it mine. So there was a lot of reason why they were saying this will end badly. And Virginius took a book about Virginia history, wrote in the front, before I had written a word, he wrote to a successful writer. And he was the paternal leader of our family at the time. Everybody backed off. The door got open for me. It took me another 20 years to take the exit. One other thing from this Battle of the Cemetery, which goes on today. They are still going on. Before they closed the gate on us, during the first reunion in 1998, we held a sunrise service. For the first time, I got to watch my black cousins walk across that threshold. It was a moment that opened all of our hearts. My late father gave the sermon, and he talked about how there are thin places in the world where the Irish believe the living can talk to the dead. And he believed that ground for him was one of them. And what he meant was, there are places that inspire you to remember what you have been given and build on it. That's what you're being asked to do. Again, for me, the idea of this political race is the best news I've heard in a while, because you will start talking. You will have an opinion. It will get harder to hide. And that is great news. So now, Shannon and I are neighbors in the same building in New York City. Everyone greets that with, really? It is as if they're astounded. We've got emails from relatives who said, did you know you two are relatives in the same building? And we get the chance all the time to say, I'd like you to meet my cousin, and watch their faces. And most Most people wonder, how did that happen? Then when they find out, if they do, that the heritage that we share, they come out of the closet and tell us they're surprised. And I understand why that is. They've read the news, first of all. They read that book that was on the Oprah reading list from the gentleman in South Carolina who put it out there that nobody got along in that family, and they assume that must be the way it is. They took the labels. I'm telling you, you are looking at a family where the contentious people, tiny in number, where the ones who love each other, who know pretty much how many children we each have, what each other is doing, will show up at weddings and funerals as a family member, will greet you with love and open arms the best we can, and who will fight with you and get annoyed and everything else. There are lots of us, and growing. Every reunion since, what I have watched is the number of cousins who previously said, I will never set foot as long as the black cousins are there, give in and show up. They look a little scared. They're a little hesitant at first. They wonder how we'll greet them. What they find out is, we dropped the rope a long time ago. There's no rope. You're on the only. We can learn from you as much as you from us. This is not one-sided. This is not one-sided. If you need to, hold on to the cemetery. I will not fight you for it, because the lessons I learned from it, I was meant to take out there. That is what I hope we can serve as an example to all of you. I hope. Or at least you're having a good time.